Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Journey Journals by Life of Gaia. My name is Gaia, and I'm delighted to have a very special guest with me here today. Now, before I introduce her, I wanted to just explain why it was important to me to have her on the interview here today. Now, with so many people starting to try plant medicine ceremonies and try psychedelics in a spiritual sense, and with the vast majority of them reporting that it's one of the most significant events of their lives because of the life-changing nature of the event, I wanted to speak to someone who has recently experienced this. So I decided to invite this very dear and special friend, Karen St. Jenny's, who is originally from the north of England, but now lives here in the United States. Karen is in her mid-50s and recently tried plant medicine and a plant medicine ceremony for the first time. So I'm very, very excited for her to share her experience and insights with us today because I believe they have been transformational. Karen, a very warm welcome to you.
Hi, Gaia. Great to speak to you again, my friend. Hi.
Thanks, Karen. So I would like to have people understand, first of all, a little bit about you. If you could be so kind as to explain a little bit about yourself, your background, and a little bit about your childhood, just to get us up to speed about where you were when you first decided to explore plant medicines in general.
Okay, so basically, as you mentioned, I'm from the north of England and I grew up in a very tiny little village. So I could class myself as being pretty introverted, and I was small, and my life was pretty limited with things that I did. So yeah, the fact I'm living in America is a completely different thing altogether anyway. But the reason why I wanted to try something to address basically an issue that I've been dealing with for quite a long time was I lost my mum when I was 14 years old. So at the time, it was obviously there was nothing available to get help, and coming from the UK, it's sort of one of those, oh, you'll be okay, you'll get over this, and it's like, no, we don't get over this. So obviously there was things available when I got older. I tried therapy. I tried antidepressants for other things as well, but it never seemed to actually hit the mark. So another friend introduced me to this option of maybe trying a plant-based medicine avenue. At first, I was like, I don't think this is going to work for me. But a little bird inside my head was basically saying to me, well, Karen, what have you to lose? I've sort of lived most of my life in fear, and I wanted to address these issues and try and deal with them. As you can hear, I'm pretty emotional about this, but I believe it's something that people need to hear. And I know I'm not alone, and I know there's lots of people out there that do need this help. So this is why I decided to look further into the plant-based medicine world.
Karen, thank you so much for already just sharing so openly and so vulnerably. I very much appreciate it, and I'm very sorry for the loss of your mom. I know how difficult grief is, and how debilitating it can be, over a lifetime. So I do appreciate and thank you for that. Karen, I wanted to ask you, you've touched on it a little bit. What led you to consider plant medicines, and what did you know about them, if anything, when you first started to consider them?
I think, to be honest, I think I had PTSD, and I know that for me, I'm not a big fan of going down the medical route. And I know that therapy really didn't hit the mark that I wanted, so I so desperately needed to try something else. And I just believe that the plants have been here for so long. They really have been here for so long. And why did we not give them a chance? So I'm a great believer that there is something out there that is more powerful than we're actually using at the moment. So hence why I did choose to do this.
100% agreed. I've done a lot of research into the topic, and these medicines and plants have existed all over the world for centuries and have been used in ceremonial purposes and for spiritual ceremonies all over the world for a very long time. And, speaking of different modalities used around the world, there are medicines like iboga or ketamine or psilocybin, magic mushrooms, or ayahuasca. What led you to choose mushrooms or psilocybin as your first plant medicine experience? And was there any specific reason behind that decision?
A very reliable source friend had tried this, and I basically turned up at her door one day, a bit distraught with a few things going on in my life. And she basically said, I think it's time you tried this. And like I say, a very reliable source. And I just felt, again, as I'd said before, what have I to lose? I've got more to lose by not trying this than to gain by at least dipping my toe in the water. So this is why I wanted to try and break this feeling that I've had for so long, this feeling that I wanted to let it go, let these feelings I've been carrying for so long disappear. So this is why I wanted to try something to let that release go away, and that pain go away.
And it's certainly a very brave step into the unknown with plant medicines a lot of times, and it also requires a lot of courage, because one never really knows where it's going to take you. I mean, the medicines always seem to be in service of the person, but it can be a challenging place to go, especially for the first time and not knowing what to expect. So well done. Karen,
Yeah.
this brings us to the moment of your first journey. Would you mind just telling us what it was like and putting us in the picture? And, were there any really important things that took place during the experience?
It was definitely a big, impactful moment. So initially, I cried a lot. I think, I'm not frightened, or I've never been frightened of crying. And I seem to cry a lot, and that is an emotion. And I think that's something that people are scared of, showing their emotions. But this has been a way of me releasing so many things, is by shedding tears. I know when I actually got involved with the ceremony, my body started to shake. My body literally started to shake, and it shook for, I would say, a good hour. And then I remember people holding me, trying to tell me it's okay. Again, this word, to let it all go, to let it all be released. And that feeling of being held was so needed. Yep. Sorry. So there was another impactful moment. I'm sorry, these tears are real. Where I actually got an image. I got a clear image in the screen. Sorry, not a clear image in the screen, a clear image in my mind of a visual. I'm a very visual person because I'm on the creative side of things anyway, but I saw a window frame with a green field and blue sky. And there was a silhouette in front of there was a silhouette in front of the window, and I know it was my mum. So it was such a comfort to be able to see that. Sorry. But it suddenly made it clear to me that she's present, she's with me, she's watching me, she's proud of me, and things are going to be okay. And again, you can see there's lots of tears coming out, but this is all who I am. I'm made of emotion, and it was so impactful. I see that image all the time. I clearly see that image. It's very, very powerful. But it was almost afterwards, after the feelings that I'd had, I felt like a huge weight had been taken off me. A huge, huge weight I'd carried for 40 odd years. So it's big. It was a big, big experience. There's no two ways to say it any different than that. It was a huge experience, and I'm grateful that I did. I was brave enough to actually go and do this And again, fear is a driver for many of us, but we have to take the first step to do something different. So yeah, it was a good thing.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, and how reassuring to see your mom's silhouette there. And as far as the crying goes, I feel like tears are so healing, and that I feel like we live in a society where everyone's supposed to be permanently happy, and tears are just part and parcel of the human experience.
Yep. Correct. There's a lot of real people out there, and I think it's a case of, I feel like I'm surrounded in a very sort of superficial society at the moment, which again is a struggle for me. But it is a case of dealing head on with issues that life has, and then being able to move on and improve from that. And hence the reason why I want to do this video, because I know so many people will never take this step. But in order to move on, you have to make a change. I've moved through, this is my third country I've lived in. I've made big, impactful changes. Am I brave? No, but I've made changes and I've made things work because of changes. So plant-based medicine is just another change or another route that I'm choosing to take, and trying to make a difference, not just for myself, but for other people to know it's okay. And it's okay to be okay. And it's okay to be around people and be okay with them seeing the whole raw realness of what we are made up of. So yeah, it's a big thing.
It's a huge thing. And Karen, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but I knew you before your first plant medicine ceremony, and I now see you after, and you're a completely different person. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful the way you wear your heart on your sleeve now, and there's this wonderful openness to you, and sharing with other people and sharing your experiences. And even you being in this interview today is just a testimony to that.
Another part that I probably didn't add was, after I'd been on the journey, the psilocybin journey, when I came back home, I felt like a different person. I felt like I'd been reborn. I know that may sound very strange to some people, but it truly felt that way. Every sight, every sound, every smell was different. I felt very fragile going outside my four walls at first, because I could feel everything around me in a different level. It's almost like everything's been turned up and magnified, and you have to learn to tune in to the world outside you. And this is what a plant-based journey does to you. It rewires your brain to re-looking at the world in a different way. Again, you've seen me a few seconds ago crying in tears. That's real. But I do know I'm a changed person because of the experiences that I've had over these last 12 months. I know that for a fact. I know how much stronger I am, and I know the feelings that I want to feel now. And I think it's huge. I really think it's a huge thing. We're only here once. We're only here on this planet once. And why not live the way that suits your personality and the person that you were born to be? Why fit in when you were meant to stand out?
That's a great message. And actually, that brings me to the next question. I wanted to ask you, and you've touched on it a little bit, how did the experience change the way that you see yourself and the world around you? And did it sort of reveal anything to you about your personality or your life?
I feel very close to my roots again. I'm finding a lot of things going on in my life at the moment that seem to be happening that are very new to me. And I'm so proud of where my roots are. Yes, I live in America. Yes, but I know where my roots are from. I know what my DNA is. I know my strengths and obviously weaknesses, but I'm building the strengths, not on the weaknesses of these days. I'm surrounding myself with people who matter. excuse me, I have friends all over the world. I'm proud to say that. I have friends, genuine friends I've had for so long. They don't judge me. And it's this again, this journey rewires your mindset. It puts forward the important things in life, not the insignificant things that we're supposed to be dealing with, but the things that really matter. The key things in your life that really matter to you, and to learn to love yourself as well. That's a big important one that I'm slowly working on. Yeah. And hence doing this. I'm learning to love myself and love you guys as well.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, Karen. I wanted to ask you, how did your beliefs and perspectives shift after your journey? And were there any particular lessons or realizations that really stuck with you? I know there were a lot, but if you could just touch on the most significant ones.
One thing when I did the first journey, the feeling, there was a few feelings that I got. There was one feeling where I slept, and I slept so deeply each night. I had amazing dreams. I felt so comfortable and so content. I didn't sleep and wake up worrying about things as I have done in the past. I just had a deep, peaceful night's sleep. I equally, during the day, I felt I was walking in a different place. There was an air about me. There was a feeling and an air about me. And that you hit the nail on the head when you said you saw me. I was feeling that feeling. It was almost like elation. I was feeling that for quite a while. I'm saying months. I'm not saying days. This feeling seemed to stay with me for quite a long time. And I was wowed. It was a wow moment. It was a natural high, if that makes sense to you. It was a feeling of safety, peace, and love that I felt around myself. So yeah, it was really amazing.
You know, the experience I had was also this incredible feeling of interconnectedness to everything and everyone. And almost this feeling of, you know, you touched on it a little bit when you said you slept well and there were no worries. It's almost like it gives you this feeling that somehow everything's going to be okay.
Mm. Yeah, a feeling of reassurance, that you've found something that maybe it was almost like I was talking to a friend before, and I was saying it's like a door's been open, and you don't need to go back there until you really want to go back there. It's not a pressure. You just know there's been an access that was you've never had before, but it's there whenever you want to go back there. And I think that's amazing, to think that doors aren't closed in life. There are so many different options and availabilities out there. And this door is permanently open for whenever I want to walk into it, and just again get that feeling to get me back, to rewire my mindset. Because we all walk around this world and we get caught up in everybody else's drama. We get caught up in TV, we get caught up in anything. It just is a natural focus of where we are at this moment in time. But it's nice to know you can go back again, reprogram that brain, and cleanse yourself from all that negativity. And it's an amazing feeling. And I think what I wish I'd had this years back. I wish I'd been given this when I was 14. But that wasn't available. So I'm saying, anybody, don't be scared of options out there, because this was definitely something that would have been a very useful tool to me 40 years ago, a long time ago.
They often refer to these plant medicines, like ayahuasca or psilocybin, as teachers or guides, and you mentioned being able to access this doorway or access sort of this teacher or this guide. Were there what valuable insights or messages did you receive during your journey, and how did they affect your life afterwards? Were there any specific ones?
Well, I definitely got the let it go. I get the let it go often. And the journey, the journey I have been involved with, I actually met like-minded people, which have become a big part of my life as well. I have some really good friends from this because we're all going through something together. It's become like we're sharing something very special between us. And it might, again, sound kooky to some people, but trust me, I know there's a lot of difficult situations we're all dealing with out there. But when you find somebody you can openly share experiences with, I can't explain to you. It's something else. It's something very, very beautiful and unique. Yeah, unique. There's no words to describe it. There's no words. It's just an absolute wow.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, and I've had a similar experience. And what I find is so beautiful is just the openness to the conversations with people who've had these experiences. You know, you can just show up as you are if you're experiencing fear or sadness or joy, or there's really no need to hide behind anything or, you know, pretend anything. It's actually this huge appreciation for you just showing up in an honest, open way, you know, and it's seen almost as a gift.
Again, I'm grateful to the person who introduced me to this. I'll never forget that moment. I will never forget that moment. And I was in a very difficult place before I actually went, and it was a life-changing moment in my life. And I would say to anybody listening or watching this video, please just consider all options out there, because not everything doesn't work for everybody, but never be scared. And trust me, you're talking to somebody who lived most of their life in fear. So I took the brave step and really I had nothing to lose. I wanted to try this, and I tried it, and I do not in any shape or form regret it. I'm not messed up. I'm not saying, look, hey, look at me, I'm a lunatic because of it. It's not at all. It really has rechanged my thought pattern, and I'll never forget it. So here we go. It's just one journey, one step into more of these adventures and experiences.
I absolutely agree with your statement, and you know, like you said, they're definitely not for everyone, and we're not trying to convince anyone of anything here. But you know, to just be open to the conversation and have a curious mind and explore, because it was a life-changing experience for me too. How did your journey impact relationships in general? And how did it change the way you interact with people or understand your connections with them?
Well, I've certainly learned to stay with people who are on my wavelength. I'm a very open book, very giving person. As I've said to you before, I've got friends all over the world. I'm very lucky for that. But I have to also know that I can only be who I am. And I felt sometimes like I was being a chameleon in this world, trying to fit in the environments that I was in. I mean, I've lived in 3 different countries, as I said, the UK, France, and at the moment USA, which I've been in for 10 years. So sometimes, obviously, I have to flip and change to fit the environment that I'm in. But I've learned to just be me. People who want me will accept me as who I am. And I'm liking me. And again, as I say, I'm learning to love me. So it's a big improvement. It's a big improvement. I don't need to be a people pleaser. I just need to please myself first. And it's definite work in progress. But regarding relationships, I've met some very, very interesting people since I've been involved with this. The conversations are now more deep and meaningful. I talk about things I've never talked about before. And trust me, the fact I'm on a video call today is quite a big, big step for me. So, you know, it's just one of those big, big moves that you make in your life. But without this experience, I would have never done this. Yeah.
You describe yourself, you've spoken about it a little bit, but tell us who you were before the experience and who you are now after the experience, and how has it influenced your personal growth and your identity in general?
Well, well, I'm single. I'm on my own, which was another thing as well. Became divorced, so that's obviously another wobble in my life that I had to work around. But I thought, I can do this. I'm a big girl. I can sort myself out and get back on my own 2 feet. So I have a successful business. I'm doing really well. Again, I've told you I'm a creative. I love art. I'm very creative. I take care of animals, which love me back, which is a great, great thing because animals pick up on things. And, I've actually got a dog sitting on my knee at the moment that you can't see. But animals are perceptive. They pick up on vibes. People are perceptive. They pick up on vibes. But animals are a lot more tuned in to us as we are. So I try to keep myself away, as I've said before, from too much drama, from too much negativity. I'm not gaining anything from that. I'm really not gaining anything from it. I'm all in for the win. I'm trying to be positive. It's a big slogan of mine. I have a slogan, stay positive. And I think it's this whole mindset, wake up and start the day in a positive way. Because if you smile, you wake up and smile, you interact with the world, you're going to make one person happy. You're going to make one person happy. They may have a bad day. You're never going to know that. But if you just do one thing, and I'm hoping that this video is going to make people feel okay. I hope that they're going to rethink their lives as well. I've seen so many of these videos, by the way, Gaia, and the people that you interview have touched me. There's been a few people who you've interviewed the last few months who've inspired me, and I would like to think I've inspired somebody as they've inspired me. And I think that's what we're here for. We're all here to share our knowledge and to share our experiences. It's a give in my world. So yeah.
What do they say? We're all on this journey together and we're all walking each other home.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. I know you have a lot of great quotes there as well, Gaia.
I wanted to ask you, you were speaking of other people considering this experience. What would you say to someone who's thinking about potentially exploring a plant medicine ceremony for the very first time? Are there any important things, in your opinion, that they should keep in mind to prepare for this type of experience?
Well, you can read about it. You can go online and you can. I mean, this is not just a hocus pocus thing. This is recognized by the John Hopkins institution. So it's a very big thing. It's just kept on the low burner at the moment. But I think this is the way things are going to start to go. So, as I've said myself, I step cautiously into this world, but I have a huge curiosity about the world as well. I'm curious. I'm observant. I wouldn't say I'm a follower. I'm more of a leader when it comes to doing things. I do things in a different way. So if somebody says don't do that, I will probably go and do it because that's the way I am. But I would look at this. I would definitely think about it, and I'm here to talk to you if you want to talk about it. I'm just a normal person, So I'm not scared to have that conversation with anybody who wants to share it with me.
What would you say to people who have fear around potentially trying it for the first time?
Well, there's nothing to fear. Let me put it that way. I've actually tried something else as well. I actually tried ayahuasca that we've not discussed. I actually tried, and they are very, very different. Psilocybin is a very gentle experience. And it's sort of like having an amazing dream, but it has to open up so many past experiences as well. You have to deal in any of these plant-based medicines, you have to deal with the fear in different degrees. And as I mentioned at the beginning, there was a lot of crying and there was a lot of shaking. But this is a release. This is a release of letting go of things that you've been holding on to, a weight that you've carried for so long. And once you let go and the release is, you'll feel freer, lighter, and able to carry on without carrying this baggage anymore, because it's a burden. We carry so much baggage. We don't need to carry emotional baggage all of our lives. it's heavy, and it's not necessary. We're not meant to be doing that. So yeah, please don't be scared of this, because it is really an emotion that you just have to address and let go of.
It's unfortunate because it still has a huge stigma around it, and very little understanding about what actually takes place and how it happens, in a spiritual sense. But as I said earlier, it's been used for thousands of years across the world, in ceremonial settings and for a very specific purpose. But now I feel like it's important to re-educate people around it, because since it became considered illegal, there's a huge job of educating people around what it really is. So thank you for doing that. And
that's the sad part for me. If I'd had this introduction when I was 14 years old, maybe my life would have been completely different. But it wasn't something that was ever talked about or even introduced to anybody. I think it was an underground thing. So again, it's never too late to experience something that may just help you, any of us.
There's a part of me that believes that it shows up when the time is right. I also thought many times I wish that it had happened 20 years ago, but maybe I wasn't ready to really receive the message fully and receive what it taught me in the way that it did. But I'm very grateful either way.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right as well. Maybe the time was right. You're absolutely right. That could be the moment was there. The moment was there. And it just happened. It happened via a few sequences of events. And I think that sometimes there's reasons for everything. Hey, that is what it's about. There's reasons why things happen. Yeah, I agree completely.
Do you have any book recommendations or things that you read that were useful to you that might be useful to someone who's just starting out and considering it and wants to just inform themselves?
I do actually. I've actually started to read this. It actually was a TV, Netflix series as well. I've started reading it. I'm only part way through it, but I did watch the series. It was fascinating. And to be honest, it's Michael Pollan, How to Change Your Mind. So I was absolutely fascinated with the series. I'm slowly getting into the book as well. It's just repeating the whole series thing. But I actually bought this in the UK, by the way, UK viewers, when I was at the duty free coming back home. So it's the new way things are going to go. It's the new science of psychedelics, I suppose is the word. It's the way that we will all start to view things. So again, I've tried it. I know it works. I will definitely be trying it again. And I have no fear. I have no fear with this at all. Absolutely no fear.
Karen, what is your message to the world?
Well, again, the word fear. I think I spent most of my life in fear. And it was a big driver to me. But I've learned that I can control this fear because there are other things out there that I can do to dismiss the fear. I don't know. The way to go is to look at life in a different way. I mean, it could be after 50 plus, and you relook at your life. I mean, there's lots of people that could say that. The thing is, what have you to lose? You have to start being brave in this world. You have to start getting out of that comfort zone. You have to start doing things that are not easy sometimes. And I agree, I've done many of those things, and there's still a long way for me to go. But never give up, be positive, and value why you're on this earth, because we're not here for very long. But if we can do good and we can help others, it's always a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. That's such a great message around fear. And actually, speaking of fear, this channel, the Journey Journals, was started after I read a quote by Joseph Campbell, and it said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the jewels that you seek." Okay, and it's such an important quote to me, and one that I've started living by, and I feel like you do too. And I feel, just you being in this conversation here with me today and just your way of being, you are like this little warrior that goes straight into that cave, straight, like fearlessly. And it's like it's as if you armed with vulnerability, and that's your gift and your weapon, and not really weapon. I mean, that's not a great analogy, but it's you have this gift of vulnerability, and it's so beautiful how openly you share with people. And so I wanted to take a moment to, first of all, thank you for being here with me on this hour together and in this interview. I so appreciate the courage and the vulnerability and the strength that it requires, because, you, like me, we go into full-on judgment by a lot of people out there who don't necessarily understand it, and that's okay. But that in and of itself takes a fair amount of courage and bravery. And so I want to say thank you from my heart to yours for walking into the cave and for being here with me and for being a ray of light and positivity to people all over the world every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaia. Thank you. Love you, girl. Bye.